Hello and welcome to episode 85 of the Youth Intake Challenge. We've just got into where the latest Youth Intake is. We're 30 games into the season and despite my happy demeanour, things haven't been going as well as we would have liked. Stick around, I'll update you on where we're at. And welcome back. So as you can see from December, it's been a bit sketchy. We've had no real consistency. Consistently inconsistent is probably the best way to do it. Lots and lots of losses in there. I mean, we've had a few good wins, most notably against Chelsea. I think we beat Man City in the Cup. Yeah, it was just a game just gone by, despite losing to them a few days earlier. A 4-4 with Tottenham, which was an absolute rip-roar of a game. But all told, I mean, a 6-4 defeat at Liverpool. A very frustrating game. Goalkeeper was injured. Richardo Duncan came in, who is an exceptionally good goalkeeper, really good potential, really good goalkeeper in general. But he had an absolute stinker of a game, and I think we outperformed them in terms of XG and everything. But they scored 6 and we scored 4, so hugely frustrating. And that's been it across the piece, really. Liebert's scoring goals again. He went through a bit of a dry spell. Raheem Primus kind of took over for a little bit. We just took Liebert out a little bit, kind of take him out the far line, give Primus a few more games. Tweaked the formations a little bit, went too deep holding midfielders, and played with an attacking midfielder again just to try and shoehorn some players into the team. It's kind of worked a little bit. We've got some good results. Certainly, I think we look slightly better now than we did in December. But the promising thing is we're still in the FA Cup and we've got 8 games left really to kind of save our season and try and push ourselves into European spot. And of them 8 games, there's nothing scary left. I mean, there's no real big teams in there. Nottingham Forest, you would say, is probably the biggest team in terms of this particular save. But the rest of them, there's nothing in there to worry about whatsoever. The big games are out of the way. So I'm not going to say we're going to win 8 games because looking at the form, it's highly unlikely. But I think there's a number of winnable games in there, certainly if we want to push up the table. Currently in 10th, which isn't horrendous. Got a game in hand on a couple of teams above us, so we can close that gap. But I really think that's what it's about. It's just about closing that gap, making sure that when we leave the save at the end of the season and let someone take over for 5 to 10 years, is we at least try and get them into a European competition to kind of increase the status of the club. You can see Joseph, he's leading the assist chart. So again, 24 years old, really filling out on his promise. Looks like a really good player. And there's quite a few in the squad, if I'm honest. There aren't world beaters, but they're just really good players. We've got a really well-rounded squad, and I think we're doing probably as well as can be expected. Some people might say that we might be able to maximise on certain opportunities in terms of optimal formations and optimal set pieces and all that sort of stuff, but I'm not about plumbing in the Medi-Raid to win formations and tactics. It's just about playing the game and seeing what you can do with the youth intake that comes through without any kind of bells and whistles that go along with it. And with that being said, I think competition-wise we've done all right. I think if we can get a European spot, success. If we can get to another final, a success. Carabao Cup was a bit disappointing, but it's all about how we leave the club at the end of the season. In terms of dynamics, always pretty good. Samson Boguchuk, not happy he couldn't go out on loan, but again, we don't have the biggest squad in the world, so I didn't want to let him go at the time. In terms of the squad itself, we have refined ourselves slowly but surely all the way down to that magic 25 number again. It just seems to naturally happen. You get some players who aren't playing week in, week out. An opportunity comes in to let them go out on loan, and that's what we've done. There's a worrying thing there as Juve want Ahmed Sarkodie. He's got 3 years left on his contract, so that might be something we might renew before we disappear, just so they can maximise any profit out of him. You can see his wages are far and away above anyone else anywhere near the squad. He's probably 3 or 4 times more than the next one up, so hugely important that he stays. But outside of that, players developing well. You've got some really good performers in terms of appearances. Benedict Joseph, 9 goals, 14 assists. He's probably the front runner. But that Liebert in terms of goals, I mean, he's done really well. Primus chipping in with 10 as well, so 30 goals between the front two. First time in a long time we've seen that. Liebert, 20 goals, 16 in the Premier League. He's got 8 games to get 4 more. Will be the first one to get 20 goals. He's only 24. He's driven. I think he's got some more to go. I mean, it's only got him 3 up there, but I still think he can get a little bit better. In terms of his progress overall, I mean, I think from when he first came in, this will be one of the best ones we've seen. Major. Pretty standard about them all, but yeah, I think all told that's a really good spread of stats in there. So he's doing well. The squad's doing well as a whole. As I mentioned in the tactics, we've gone too deep in midfielders, mostly because Oviedo and Aguirre, I think, are starters. Mandan they're playing at the minute, but Sarkodie, if we can get him further forward and get him scoring goals again, along with the front three we've got up there, there's a lot of goals I think in this team. We just need to shore up the back, and that's what the latest intake is all about. So I'll get us ready to view the intake, and I'll let the cat out the door because he's meowing at me, and I'll be back very shortly. And here we go. So this is the final intake that we will see, possibly. I don't think we'll see any more in the 5 years. Depends when we come back. But in terms of the final intake, it's not terrible. It's not the greatest we've ever seen. It's classified as an excellent intake. And Alan Nagumu could be one of the best players of his generation, who is a very bizarre player in that he's a left back, but his most natural is left winger. He can play up front, left back and left wing, which is a bit bizarre. But looking at it as a whole, we've got three decent talents. Mark Cooper, Samuel Shaibu and Akwasi Laria. Decent talents. Not really got the potential threshold, I don't think, to stay in there. But the rest of them, I think, we probably will bring in to bolster the squad. We've let it dwindle as we've taken just the best players year in year. I think we need to bolster up the numbers, certainly in the under-18s, under-21s. To allow better development of the players around them. So first we've got Drew Chilvers, can play either wing. Really good physical stats actually, that jumps out straight away. In terms of a 16-year-old, he's got some really good stats there, and he's got a proper lines mane of a haircut as well. So I think he might well be a player of the future. And again, we'll look at all these in 5 years time and then 10 years time to see where they go. What I'll do is I'll have to note all the players who are in the squad or in the teams when we leave, and then we can revisit them all as we go through to see who's kind of made the biggest surprise development. So Drew Chilvers, he's the first one. Who else have we got? We've got Magnus Sidevag, a left winger. We seem to have got a lot of left wingers in recent years. Realist, good natural fitness, good pace to start, good at dribbling, good first touch and technique, and his mental game isn't too bad either actually. So as a winger, looking pretty good. 16 years old. I think you could probably eke out a bit more potential on that. I mean, he's not particularly strong, he's not particularly tall, but I don't know if maybe they might have got that slightly wrong. But next we've got a central defender, Kjell Swedland, 191 centimetres, but we all like a good tall centre half. Can play left and right back as well, which is really useful in terms of flexibility, certainly in terms of getting him some games until he's ready to play centre half. Underwhelming physical stats, needs to do a bit of development, especially if he's going to play at centre half. But that's one of them players that he needs to have a really good developmental spike if he's going to make it, because on that kind of base stats he's probably not going to get too far. After that we've got Ronaldo Brathwaite, striker, English, poacher, so he's not really, again, he looks a bit underwhelming as a first snapshot, and I think when you click on this screen, sometimes players just jump out at you. They've got lots of double figure stats, especially when they look green. Maybe even when they're in the wrong place it jumps out at you a little bit, but I just think he looks a little bit underwhelming. However, he might surprise us moving forward, especially when we've left the club and someone else comes in. Next we've got Lesigo Legapello, another poacher. And to me, again, I'd have to look at the other two together, but he looks slightly better. When I look at it as a snapshot, I just think he looks slightly better. He likes to come deep and get the ball, plays a short, simple pass, finishing and first touches in the double figures, as is his technique. He's a bit pacier, he's got some acceleration. I just think he's probably got something more about him in terms of the attributes. But there we go. After that, we got Kimani Dean, another left winger. I mean, straight away he jumped out as being significantly better than the other left winger we looked at. The flip side is the other left winger had lots and lots of good physical stats. This time he's lacking in the physical, but his mental game and his technical ability looks far more advanced than the other player as a starter for 10. So again, I think he's got much higher chance of reaching that kind of 3-star threshold. So I think he's potentially be a good player. Ishmael Nagorin, a right back. We always need full backs. Again, straight into the underwhelming bucket. Physicals are alright to average, but the rest of it is just really it's really not there, especially from a technical side. I mean, he's a no-nonsense fullback, which kind of makes you think that he's not got much technical about him. But a really tall right back, maybe he could develop into a centre half rather than the right back with the height he's got and the jumping reach. But Ishmael Goran, not setting the world on fire. Akinori Nagawaka, young Englishman, deep line playmaker. All right, technically, good technique on him. Maybe that'll make up for some of the shortfalls he's got currently in terms of the physicals. But I think that's a typical average, I think, for a player coming through. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's terrible. A really good, useful player probably to have in the squad at the under 18s. And then finally, Sean Bradshaw, sweeper keeper. We've had loads of keepers come through in recent years. We've had loads of really good keepers, let's be honest. And there is no way this guy's ever getting anywhere near the first team. We'll get him in there, we'll let him develop, we'll maybe sell him on for a profit, but I don't think there's any version of Sean Bradshaw that sees him getting in the Dulwich Hamlet first team. Again, I stand to be surprised in the future when we do future episodes, but I can't see it happening. Into the top talents then, we've got Ewan Whelan, a poacher, Englishman. Finishing first touch is good. Physicals are right. Everything looks just slightly above all right. He's a realist. Short, simple passes. Likes the ball into feet. Maybe is a partnership to somebody up top. His pace isn't terrible, but it's not great. We'll see where he goes. I normally like an advanced forward more than a poacher, but there you go. Ugochukwu Adebowale, complete wing back on the left. Again, some competition perhaps at left back, certainly for the future. Amber for right full left back, not convincing. Slightly further forward, maybe they could do a formation change, play a 5-3-2. Not something I've ever really particularly done in playing with them slightly more advanced and then removing the winger. I don't know. It looks like it could be an interesting thing to try, and certainly that'd be an interesting young player to come through if you were doing that. I think he looks like an alright little player. Into the top talents then, and we'll go Lamar Lansbury first. Midfield at Mazzala. Balanced personality. Again, I mean, the work rate sticks out like a sore thumb. I think he's got fairly good spread across the physicals and the mentals. His technique and his technical abilities is just about there in some aspects. Looks like he can finish maybe a future free kick taker as well. So again, if he develops well, he could become a really good midfielder. We play with 3 midfielders, so there's always a chance he can get in and around that squad. So that's Lamar Lansbury. And then finally, the mighty Alan Nagumu, possibly one of the best players of his generation. Is he a left back? Is he a winger? I think he's a left back. Yeah, I think he's a left back. Again, let me know what you think, but I think his stats, certainly his marking, tackling, positioning and anticipation all kind of play him into being a left back rather than up here where his dribbling and his first touch is a little bit lacking, his agility is a bit lacking, he's not as good off the ball. Again, his balance is particularly good, but I think he's much better as a no-nonsense fullback, but we'll see. That is all the intake players coming through. We're getting very close to the end. We've got 8 more games before we end the season and say our goodbyes to Dulwich Hamlet. I know we're going to do a revisit in the future, but these 8 games are going to be quite hard. I always find it difficult to say goodbye and let go at the end of a save. We're going to have to get good at it, and there's always another save in the future. But I've really enjoyed this. We're in 2051. It's the longest I think I've ever managed a club in Football Manager, and it's certainly the most enjoyable I've found it in a long time. But I'll get through the final 8 games, and I'll see you in a future episode. Hopefully we'll be able to squeeze into Europe. Let me know if you think we can make it. I think we've got 8 really manageable games to get through. And until next time, enjoy saves, enjoy your weekends, enjoy football, enjoy the Premier League, enjoy the Championship playoffs, and I'll see you again very, very soon.